All right, we're going to answer a question that we get asked quite frequently with regards to setting up programs. Should I use distance or should I use time? So on that end of things, what I will say is that both are acceptable. So there are times where you want to use one over the other. And so the important thing to recognize though is when you're talking about either, they are referring to a training load or volume. They all do relate back to that. So 1 hour is 1 hour, no matter what speed you walk or run at. Um, and 10 kilometers is 10 kilometers, but the time that it's going to take to walk 10 kilometers versus run 10 kilometers is going to be quite a bit different. So it's going to take a lot longer for the walker, obviously, than an elite runner. And this is a bit of an inverse relationship to really what we want. So, if a beginner is kind of, using distance, then they're actually going to be training probably longer than the elite athlete. So that's why we use time. So on that end of things, what we want to look at is when is it appropriate to use time versus distance. So time is really better when you've got larger groups and when you've got varying fitness levels. And obviously with setting up a program the way we have set it up, we have a lot of different variability within training levels within that. And again, this is a general program. So when you don't have access to a track or a measured route, that obviously is another time where you should be using the time factor as your metric. Now, again, with GPSs and wearables and things like that, it's a lot easier to kind of have specific distances, but it's still best kind of as a general practice to use time when doing that. So when is it appropriate to use distance? Well, distance is probably best when you're kind of working with somebody on some specific goals. And if you're trying to get them familiar with a specific pace, whether it be a marathon pace or a 10K pace, and when you're trying to elicit specific physiological things within their training, so whether it be interval paces or race paces, you've got some certain things that you're working on. So this typically we use distance with somebody that's a little bit more experienced. Again, not always, but it definitely helps a little bit when people know exactly kind of what pace they should be working out at. So there you have it. That's how we use it. So it's time to get going.